Just ready to go? Good evening. I am calling the Village of North Hudson Park Board meeting to order for Tuesday, January 20th on 2026. It is 6:02 p.m. Roll call. Commissioner John Flater.
Here.
Commissioner Randall Ryder. Commissioner, right here. John Helgeson.
Here.
Commissioner Mona Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Schwabach.
Here.
And welcome to Commissioner Darcy Strutt.
Here.
My name's Mary McGurn. I'm the chair. I'm present. And Matthew Howell, our Public Works Director, and also in charge of our parks, is here as well. Second item is to review and approve the minutes from the Park Board meeting of November 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've had a motion to approve by Commissioner Helgeson and seconded by Commissioner Martinez. Any discussion? In hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes carry. Comments from the floor. This is an opportunity we have at every meeting for the Village of North Hudson residents, property owners, or business owners to make the Park Committee aware of topics, issues, or opportunities that are on or not on today's agenda. And we have no visitors today, so we will not have any further discussion from the public. And now I want to have a formal introduction for our newest commissioner. We're very happy that Michelle Ortner gave us a great replacement. And Darcy, if you want to introduce yourself to the board, I know you started to do some of that, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you here and what your park passions are.
Well, I am Darcy Strutt, and I've been a member of the village since 1989. I happen to be a neighbor to Glen Oaks Park, which is one of the reasons. I also have a passion for green spaces, especially for pollinators. I was the one who brought in the monarch way station for Glen Oaks. And my home is also a monarch way station as well as a wildlife habitat. And I have 8 grandchildren who makes good use of 3 of the parks. Mm-hmm. And I also love pickleball, so I have been enjoying that addition to our park system. So I'm very pleased and excited to be a new member.
Could you take just a minute to tell us about what a monarch way station is and a wildlife habitat certification are?
They are certifications through 2 different organizations, but the Monarch Way Station is through Monarch Watch, and it has to do with providing native plants, a water source, upkeep, and it is an international, I believe, organization, though the monarchs, mostly are within the United States. There's the most of them, but they do travel down to Mexico. Mm-hmm. And the wildlife habitat is through a different organization, and right now, of course, it's going to slip my mind. But I was able to mentor a UW River Falls candidate for graduation, and her senior project was to create a wildlife habitat. And I said, I'm willing to teach you how to grow seeds, and I'm willing to do that. So that included, again, pesticide-free native plants, bird houses, water sources, habitat like brush piles, bee houses, bat houses, just all of those things that would make it a good wildlife habitat. And so in my house, you can definitely see foxes roaming around, even though I'm in the city, and deer and flowers galore. So a lot of pollinators are in my yard, and that just makes me very happy. And birds, lots of birds.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being willing to serve on the park board. We look forward to your contributions.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Welcome. It's welcome.
Thank you. I recognize some faces, and I'm look forward to learn more about you.
All right. Our next item is a February meeting conflict discussion and possible recommendations. So thank you, Matt, Director Howell, for helping me understand that we've got a problem with the February meeting. that the board meeting is, hasn't yet been, but will likely be, no, it was voted to continue the board meeting to a different date because there is a conflict with the election, the primary. It's going to have to be a primary. So that means the Public Works meeting is going to move their time, and they have a public comment to their next meeting. So that means that our meeting would get moved to February, do you have the date?
24th at 6:30 PM instead of the 17th at 6 due to the school board election, like you said.
So, checking with everyone here if having a meeting at the 24th, on the 24th at 6:30 for February works for people, because that would be outside our normal week and time.
Don't have anything on my calendar yet.
Okay, so I think we need to take a vote to change the date, at least that's how they have been doing it at other committees. So I'm gonna, someone wanna make a motion to change the meeting date to the 24th at 6:30 for the February meeting?
I move that we move the February meeting to February 24, 26 at 6:30 PM.
And is there a second?
Second or third.
Well, we're gonna give it to Mona again, since this is her last meeting, which we will talk about too. So, all those in favor of changing the meeting date and time for February, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Update from the St. Croix Bike and Pedestrian Trail Coalition, discussion only. The coalition was going to be here to do an update, but unfortunately Susan wasn't able to make it, and it looks like her replacement wasn't able to make it either. So there is no update for the committee this month. So we'll move on to item 7. Status update on Village Park walkthroughs, discussion only. This is an opportunity for the Park Board Commissioners to identify issues or concerns related to village parks. I know it's winter. People are not leaving their homes very much. Is there any topics or concerns from the board today? All right.
I would like to suggest this is a reoccurring agenda item.
Yes, it is.
If we could change it to, because we're really not talking about the walkthrough, we're talking about sort of the status of, so could we, I don't know,
Sure.
change it?
Change to more back and reflect what we're doing with this
Yeah.
item. Yep, you bet. Can do that. So it would be more like you said, concerns or issues related to village parks,
go.
contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can you say that one more time so I can write it down?
Yes. Issues or concerns related to village park. Parks.
Thank you.
So it'd be items not on the agenda. So that we can be aware, so the board is aware internally of issues that we have. We'll update the little description too. Okay. Anything else on that? Hearing nothing, we'll go to item 8, where we are very happy to have Director Powell here to give us an update.
All right, I got a lot of stuff, so I'll try to make it quick. Community garden, an email will be sent out in March, asking for, I guess not asking, letting people know how many spots are available and then the due dates when to sign up. We have tree ordinances we're working on to work towards our goal of becoming a tree city. So we have talked to Cedar Corporation, our engineering company. They will help us draft the ordinances, and that's all the staff does is draft. Any changes, feedback, anything like that all comes from the board, and then the board votes on that. So we'll just have a draft that you can add or change, and then we'll get our tree ordinances updated. They're quite outdated. They go back to like Dutch elm's disease and stuff like that, which is eradicated. And so we'll get those updated to make that happen. Arbor Day event. We would like to do a tree planting event, not on Arbor Day. Because Arbor Day it's cold. And the ground can still be frozen and it can be muddy and nasty. And so we were gonna do in May. and because we gotta get our trees, right, then probably won't have them by April. So we have, with using the DNR list of their trees, we've, for the ones at the village, we'll pick and we'll vote on this next month, which ones you guys want. But we have went through, we had our arborist, the company we use, or the tree service we use, and he made recommendations off of this list as to if it's open right away, no sidewalks on the boulevard, then we have some trees. If there's a sidewalk, then we need deep rooted trees, so they don't pop the sidewalks, and so they, trees that don't get huge. So we have that. Trees are all about 18 to 24 inches tall that we would be supplying, and this will be for first priority, and the trees are the way, I guess you guys haven't decided on, but the way, kind of before you had taken over, what the plan was, is that anybody who had a right-of-way tree that was removed due to emerald ash borer will get a free tree. The rest of the residents will pay the cost of the tree, which the trees are like $3 a piece, because we're buying them at 100 at a time. So there's not much of a cost, but just to kind of help the people out who had big, beautiful trees, you know, that shaded their house, and now they'd have nothing, because unfortunately we had terrible tree disease. So that's what I've got on the trees. There'll be a village tree planting event. There'll be a listserv email / Facebook post going out about that as well.
Did you provide a date? You said May, but has there been a selected date?
No, we'll pick that next, we'll pick the dates in May. We're pretty open besides any, you know, holidays, things like that. Whether we want to do it on a Friday, an evening, a weekend, that'll kind of be up to you guys. Oh, and then memorial park benches. There will be publications. We're going to kind of have like a park kind of email / newsletter with the community garden and all the different, you know, when the pickleball courts, all that kind of stuff on there. So we do have the information on the park benches, on the cost. We have the concrete that they get poured on. So to keep the cost down, what we're gonna have is, we'll have the bench pads poured when we do our sidewalks done. So we'll have a April 1st deadline yearly for people to apply if they want a memorial park benches. The concrete will get poured, because it's like a couple $100 for the concrete if we do it when they're here doing the sidewalks. If we just have pads poured, they're thousands, because you got mobilization fees and everything, so. So due to that, we'll need 50% down by application, and that will cover the concrete and the labor, and then the remaining 50% will be when we order the benches and install them. There's numerous different bench options. You can spend, just for the bench, you can spend anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 is just how fancy you want the memorial bench. And then we have a meeting this week with Cedar Corp to go over some of the Chief Jansen funding that we got for the playground. So we did have the one presenter come up. We're gonna kind of get all the vendors and go through the process of whether we sole source it through like NASPO, like a federal or state buying program, or whether we go out for bid. It's really hard on playgrounds, because when you go out for bid, every playground sells a different type of playground. They're very different, you know, it's like going to buy a car, they're all do the same thing, but there's 30 different varieties of the same thing, so there's multiple different ways. That'll be up to you guys if we want to go for RFP or sole source it, or how we do that. So that's in the pipeline. We actually are gonna go over, we didn't get some of the grants that we were hoping for, any of them. So but we do have money that the village put forth. So we're looking about $50,000 less. There's some things that we can take off, and there's some things that we can do in-house to try to still get a much better playground in that area. So she will be invited back next, well, there'll be two park people here. as long as Mary wants it on the agenda to show us their plans, and then we can finalize and get stuff rolling so we can break ground and hopefully have a usable park before the season's over. All right, that's all I got. Kind of long-winded, sorry.
Thank you. That's a great update. It is a lot. We didn't meet in December, so I think we got a little extra bonus there. Ice rinks, are we gonna do ice rinks this year?
Yeah, it's out, it's up, yep, and it's awesome. I get here at 6:30 in the morning, it's the same group of kids every morning that come and play right until they gotta run to school. The ice is getting tore up every weekend, so they've been using it, and then due to overwhelming amount of requests, we ordered nets that just came in today, and they're in my office. So we're gonna put up some, they're small, not full-size hockey nets, but some nets there. And moving the rink over there by the warming house was excellent. It's just getting used. It's been going pretty good. Oh, I wish we didn't have the cold weather to support the ice rink, but we do. So we'll just keep making ice.
Are there any of these, I know a lot of these things we'll talk about that are gonna come back on the park board agenda, but are there any things that you need volunteers or assistance with? I'm thinking about anything with the community garden or with the tree, the Arbor Day celebration with the trees particularly?
Well, I think we're gonna order the trees, and then people can plant them. We'll do the planting in the parks, and then right-of-ways, they can plant them, as long as and there is no fee. That's the other thing, there's no fee for this tree event. They've never done a fee when it's the tree event. Usually to plant a tree in the right-of-way, it's $25. You gotta fill out a permit. You still gotta fill out the permit, but the fee is waived for these planting events. So it's kinda,
So the
Best.
village does it? The village will do it?
no, people have to plant their own trees. We'll plant the ones in the parks, but the people won't have to pay $25 to plant a tree in the right-of-way. They waive that fee, or historically, they always have.
I see,
Yes,
the
so you don't-
application fee.
Yep, the application fee of $25 is waived during the events.
And the free trees are for people that lost them in the right of way or in their yard,
If they lost them due to emerald ash borer.
no matter what?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
just because their
Okay,
trees are good and they make clean air.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, I don't have any updates that aren't on the agenda, so we'll go to item 9. Planning for Park Advisory Committee and Community Input and Engagement. This is a discussion only. At the last meeting, Commissioner Flater offered to do a little research for us and see what he could find out.
So, I looked at a couple things. You got Friends in the Parks, you got Adopt the Parks. Could kind of do it either way. Kind of what I gather from it, both, is it's a volunteer group, or a volunteer individual that can adopt a park or just kind of help out wherever. And thinking about it, I was thinking we could do a couple varieties of it, and I kind of wanted to bring it to everybody here before I kind of wrote anything up or presented anything, and kind of how we want to go about it. And so, like where I work, we do Adopt the Park, and that's like where groups and organizations can adopt a park. On Arbor Day, they do go through and do a cleaning of the entire park and all that kind of stuff. And then they do it again in the fall. So they just kind of keep up on it. As I look at the inspection list, checklist here, for some of you new commissioners, you may not have this, but this is something I think we got, I want to say like 7-8 months ago. And this is kind of where I was going with it. More of my thinking is how can this volunteer group base help support staff? Obviously our staff is small. We don't have 20 people on staff to do all these tasks. And so it's like, is there some way we can kind of divide and conquer and support our staff and help them? And if people within the village have, like if they're good painters or something like that, then maybe they volunteer to paint whatever needs to be painted. And we just kind of make a list of things that can be done and all that, and just kind of go through, and all that, and just nail down some of this stuff. Or if someone likes to build something or whatever. Whatever that looks like, I know you talked about the monarch garden thing, like, so I would kind of see that as a part of, if someone else had that passion, then we could organize an event like that. Or, I know one of our old commissioners, he always talked about the buckthorn issue, and wanted to get rid of buckthorn. It's like, are goats the best way to do it, or are people and volunteers the best way to do it? And just try to figure something else out. I'm open up to any ideas, and what we think would work best, but I think the goal would be to help support staff, but not take their jobs away, but just support them in any way. And Matt would be very instrumental in that kind of help, and asking for that kind of help and volunteers. So it's kind of what I've learned. I'm open to anything, but
We have in the past used Eagle Scouts doing their project, and there's usually a pretty good pipeline of those.
Other comments or feedback? Matt, what are your thoughts?
Like an advisory committee would be nice, because how we, you guys have all been on this board, or most people, people come here, they bring up issues, or people call, or people email. And then once we get enough interest in the same thing, like, the hundreds of calls I got about pickleball courts, we put in a pickleball court. The numerous calls we got about Chief Jansen not being adequate playground equipment. An advisory board to that would be awesome, because it ultimately shouldn't be a staff member bringing ideas for the community together. I mean, when they call, I bring them up, but if there was an advisory committee, that would be awesome for the improvements. Other than that, the maintenance, I think we've got a pretty good grip on, besides, the stuff where you get the thaw and then everything's ugly for a couple weeks until you get it cleaned up. That kind of stuff would be nice, but, yeah, I think an advisory committee would be awesome, as far as that just gathered information from what the people in the town want.
So you see that as different than the board function, more of a outreach than coming
Or it could
in,
be the
or-
board, I guess. It would be,
Because I can see where you're in an awkward situation, you don't want to be making those decisions or directing.
oh, yeah, I mean, I thought pickleball was a crazy thing. When people started bringing that up to me, I've never heard of it. I thought, why are we gonna do this? And then it's like, that was probably the greatest thing we've done to the parks in a long time, as far as like an amenity, because they're busy every day. There's people there as long as the weather's permitting. So, I mean,
not now.
we should have people who live in the community, who live in an urban area in this community, trying to pick what do we want. And then, of course, the age groups, right? Pickleball is kind of a adult activity, a playground's kind of a child activity. Do we want more child or adult things? I don't know, I don't know how you, because you guys advise the board, so you're kind of the park advisory committee in itself, but if people had a way a general email to email this stuff to gather this information, or a way to gather all the information, then you could say, okay, this year we got 100 requests for this and 2 requests for this, and then kind of weigh it out. Because sometimes it's like it ebbs and flows, right? We had this time where people wanted a skate park the worst way, and it's been 2 years, I haven't heard crickets about a skate park. So there's be a way to kind of gauge what does the community want long-term in their parks, which I know we have that in our outdoor rec plan and that kind of stuff, but for people to bring stuff forward, their suggestions.
Matt, do you mostly get phone calls or emails, or is it a mishmash of?
I would say 90% of it is people stopping us on the street, if we're working or doing something at a park, and then the people playing basketball say, hey, we want to fence around this basketball because it goes out into the street all the time. I don't play basketball there, so I don't know that. So the information's awesome to hear, but, so it's mostly people stopping us, and then
I was wondering if maybe we put on the village site under the park boards, put a link in there for the park advisory committee and submit things there, then maybe that would take some off of you, I don't know.
Because like, bringing it to my attention when there's like a deficiency, right, we're on that, we tackle that. But when people bring advice, like, a big call I get is people want a way to be on the water since we're like this river or lake town. So they want a fishing pier or, and it's like, well, you got Corky's Pier, but that's not our town, right? So they want a fishing pier, and I hear this stuff all the time, but probably the first time Mary's heard about it,
Yeah.
right?
For sure, like,
So-
absolutely. And as you guys are saying that, and like, there is no way to contact the park board.
No.
Because it's a citizen
So
group.
I guess I
and
thought that's what this
emails.
bullet was
Yeah.
for, but
Well, and like, how does that funnel down?
to the people who make the decisions. 'Cause
Right.
Yeah.
on the camera, I'll tell you, I make no decisions for this village. This all comes from all the volunteers like you guys. So if, there's got to be a really good way to get the information to you.
So we need a way for citizens to get information to the park board about their input about the parks. So very, very insightful. Good.
I would suggest we have a sort of a multi-pronged approach. One is put up a little sign, or a large sign, a sign in all the parks,
With their phone numbers?
indicating you have requests about the parks. You have concerns, comments, desires. I don't know if that's an email address or phone number, I suspect it's an
I
email.
actually just heard it down here. It's what we do at the pickleball courts is that QR code that they scan.
There you go.
Yep.
Non-emergency public works request.
Yeah, that's not really, that doesn't go to you guys. That's for somebody to tell me they don't think I put enough salt on the road or the grass is getting too long.
Okay.
That's not like, it's not the proper funnel for that.
But perhaps we could have a link like that
Yeah.
for the parks.
It's like
as
an
opposed to
emergency
not enough,
request.
you didn't plow my street today.
Like an acute emergency request versus a parks improvement
Wish list.
request.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, this is great. So, man, am I hearing you say that things like cleanup days or help with painting signs or more practical things are not things that you think are needed?
We're lucky enough that we can get labor at $2 an hour from Department of Corrections. And so if we need a cleanup day, I just call the prison. And I mean, it's all vetted. They're, I don't want to say they're safe, but there's guards. It's, so I don't really think we need that. We don't really have much of the like nastiness in parks that, I mean, the buckthorn, we've got a good control on. And I would say it's more, getting to know. And then, like for the events, tree planting events, and if we got 200 trees, and the three of us can't dig 200 holes, so it has to be an event. So,
Can I just ask the advisory committee, like what would be the biggest thing in the near future that we would be looking for the community input on? Would it
Chief
be
Jansen.
it would be selecting the park equipment?
yeah, within the budget and the
Within the
confines of
budget.
what everybody on the, because ultimately you guys would have to push it, you guys approve it and then push it to the board for approval, so it'd just be,
Right.
So that would be something that we could actually like post the options and ask people to send their input on
we
these
could do,
options.
yeah, or you could put it as an agenda item and do a public informational, where you could, anybody in the village can come, and what do you guys want to see out of this Chief Jansen Park?
Right.
I mean, we've heard from the community up there what they want, so that one we've got a pretty good grasp on, but, all projects.
Right.
Right.
Well, I know like on Facebook, you can do polls. And then people vote on there. Maybe that's an option, I don't know.
We have to get the info out. Yeah, it has to get out in order to get information in.
And would
So,
that just go to that part of the village?
No.
Or would that go to everything?
No, because we
Everybody?
can't really, like,
Can't segregate.
the whole village is funding it. It's not the Chief Jansen Residence Park, it's the whole village's park, so.
Yep.
so how does that fit with what you are thinking about, or kind of,
So it was more of the research I've done was more of like a volunteer group that would help support in the parks. Advisory board would be a little bit different, which is totally fine. Again, I'm totally fine with that, but it's just more of,
Well-
like the planting of 200 trees.
Right.
We do that with the city of Cottage Grove. Like, we take all full-time staff, take a half day, and we go plant trees wherever in the city we do, and then we invite community members to come too, and all of that. So, but that's where, if we just got like a list of people wanting to help or that can help, then that's where that would kind of assist and support staff.
So I see this group as kind of the advisory group, and what I think we need is a place to funnel in information from the community and to solicit
Right.
the community for input to come in. So that's where I think we can think about that, and I'll certainly talk with Gina about that too, like how can we get an email for the park board, or a form, you want something to go to the park board, or you have an idea about parks, and we get how to best gather that information and get it to this group, and to let people know that they can give input in that way, and you don't have to just catch Public Works team out on the road
street.
when they're trying to do something else. And you could direct them there then,
Yeah.
to do that. And we can better collect it and keep track of it and use it for planning and decision-making. Awesome. So would it be helpful for us to have volunteers for those special events, or?
For the special events, I would think if we could do a special event a year, one, that would be awesome. Plant some trees or do whatever
Okay,
issues you guys think we should take on that year. That'd be-
whatever you can. So the help that you get from the,
Department of Corrections.
thank you. What's the limitations, or like, is there certain things they can't do that you would want this group to do, or is there?
I would think everything they do would be what that group could do. They can do everything but
Okay.
drive vehicles or run a chainsaw. So,
All right. Not bad. All right. Other feedback or input?
The only other thing I was thinking about was, would we ever solicit maybe isn't the right word, gather interest at, our biggest community event every year is Pepperfest, do we have any sort of Parks Board representation at any point in Pepperfest, or have we done that in the past at some point?
it's a line we can't cross. That
Oh,
is,
okay.
Pepperfest is not part of the village.
Oh.
They are part of the village, like in our hearts, right?
Okay.
But they are, so they rent this space from us.
Okay.
We bill them for everything, my hours, Gina's hours, everything. It's a nonprofit, but it's not Village of North Hudson
Okay.
ran or owned. So we have no input on that, really. If that makes sense.
It's a private corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But like, could we ask for a booth or something?
That's what I was
there to
thinking, some sort of
just-
table,
yeah, just
something.
to I don't know, for,
Of a presence of some sort.
be in the parade?
Well, certainly the JCs
I'm
have
already
been a
there.
part of it. The JCs often have their car that they're selling raffles for. So I don't think Pepperfest is against having a community presence there.
It'd be about
They
asking.
let us, as the VFW, have our slushy stand and recruiting
Mm-hmm.
stand. But we have to pay a percentage of the slushies we sell.
Sure.
And we may or may not get a grant from them each year.
Okay, well, those are really great ideas, too. So, okay, I'm tracking those. John, you got that? Other discussion on the Friends of the Park, Adopt a Park, Park Advisory. I see this as something we'll discuss again, like,
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think the conversation stops after once.
Yep, agreed. Okay, and it actually fits into, so I'm going to close that item, if everyone's ready, and go to number 10, which is to review the recommendations and plan for updates to the 2022-2027 outdoor recreation plan, discussion only. I see the discussion that we just had about getting community input and different ways to do that as very pertinent to this entire process of updating the outdoor recreation plan. So the outdoor rec plan was part of the meeting documents. This plan, although it was updated in 2022, March 29th, 2022, actually is the same plan that we had the 5 years before that. So for all intents and purposes, it really hasn't been updated for quite some time, and it's time for us to do that. Also, since the comprehensive plan, which guides the village's planning, was approved by the board this month. There is a section in the comp plan about parks too. There's a narrative, and then there's a section on goals. And so what I think we need to do is to take the comp plan and then the current village plan, outdoor rec plan, and then the goals, and that, this was before your time, Darcy, but we have a document, a spreadsheet of all the parks and the goals that we've been talking about, and we need to take those three things and put them together, and then seek further input from the community once we get like, here's the menu of what we see as the goals and objectives for each park. Then we need to like really find a way to solicit additional community input into that plan, then finalize it and make the recommendation to the board. And the purpose of the outdoor plan is kind of the same thing that our little spreadsheet was to help guide resource decisions, like what are the priorities when we're looking to ask the board for funding, what are the priorities from the park board that should reflect the community, and also then Matt, and working with Cedar Core, and Gina, our administrator, will use that outdoor plan for grants, because whenever you're applying for a grant, they want to know, how does this fit into your goals, your community goals, what input did you have? So it's a really important piece of it, and we can fit in some of the things that we were just talking about in regards to ways to further community input through signage, through emails, through, more strategies to make sure that we're better reflecting, or best reflecting what the community wants.
I think, in my mind, plans, or planning documents, set an agenda for the business of a board, an entity, and the fact that the plan has not been updated for a long time, and the fact is, when I came on this board, no one handed that to me. I've never seen it until it came on the email, and that tells me that we have not been using, and I don't think most committees do, use their planning documents for guidance. I think we're really doing a great job of identifying a lot of the things we want to do to individual parks. And if we want input, I would suggest, instead of updating the document, do we have to have that document?
I believe that we do, because, so
Well,
there-
and
I
I
see
just
nods here by
suggest
other
we,
commissioners.
someone do some minor editing, so it coincides with the planning document. But I think for the citizens, because they're not going to read that document, it's what, how many?
Yeah, no.
So I think it'd be great if we had maybe two-page document that showed what we were going to do with individual parks.
I think that's a great idea, and actually what I did was I took that planning document and I put it into AI and got it summarized, which was super helpful. And I think
Oh,
that,
good.
when we get down to the kernels of it, it's really helpful.
Yeah, good.
And I agree, the public isn't going to read all of that. We do need some of that narrative, and it's pretty boilerplate narrative about the parks, and we've got how many parks we have, what the acreage is, what the amenities are, all those sorts of things, and then our list of what we want to prioritize for the work for those. And I'm willing to put that stuff together to give us a starting point to move forward, so that we do have the planning documents. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. I mean, having a plan doesn't have to be like so many pages that nobody can stand it.
It's got to be pretty intentional, specific, and targeted. Like,
Yes.
there's been a lot of talk about doing something at ferries, right? There's not anything in our old CIP really that comes down to Ferries Landing Park and making massive improvements there. Therefore, all these state grants, like, if it's not on your CIP, you can't apply for it. Now, you can amend the CIP, or you can amend your comp plan, or your outdoor rec plan, but it would be good to have a little foresight into the future of what do we want to do, what's our goals, and then get it on these documents, so then when we do decide to pull the trigger, when I get the phone calls of all the people, why are we wasting money, I've got potholes in my road, and all these things, we could say, this is a CIP this is like the roadmap for what we plan on doing with parks money.
Yeah. So, what I would plan to do, hopefully by the next meeting, would be to take the current comp plan and take that narrative and update whatever's in the current outdoor rec plan and take it down to a biteable size. And then, like I said, take those goals, integrate them, and then bring the goals back to this group. It would be integrated between the current goals in the 2022, 2027, the goals in the comp plan, which aren't all the same, and then the goals in our planning spreadsheet, which are all the same. And we need to get that to you, Darcy, that planning spreadsheet.
I just let her say it.
Oh,
I
awesome.
got
Awesome.
So she just
I will email you a copy of that too. And then discuss really the highlights, which is what we want to do for each park, and then some of the goals that we just talked about for community input. Does that sound like a reasonable plan?
Yeah. The operative word tonight is plan, right? Yeah.
I love plans, in case that hasn't been obvious. Because they're necessary, otherwise you're just flailing, and you don't know if you've made any progress, and you don't know what progress you should be making, so it's really important.
So are we updating this to be 2027 to like 2030? Would that be like the goal there? And kind of scrapping the 2022 to 2027 one?
I think we would, well, so it's 2026, and it's January. Will we get it done by December? Sure. So, but then it'll have to go to the board.
Right.
So, it may be 2027 before it's in, but, whatever that is, it's a 5-year plan. It should be a 5-year plan.
Oh, 5-year plan, okay. I just did 2030 because that was an even number.
Well, that's, yeah, sure, it's that's very nice, clean number. Okay, and if I can actually share the summary that I got of this too, if anyone is interested. Or we can post it with the next meeting documents, kind of the short version. All right. Anything else on that item? Okay, item 11, update, planning on joint meeting with the City of Hudson Park Board, discussion only. So you may recall that we had originally planned for this evening to be our joint meeting with the City of Hudson. It was going to be at the Hudson Fire Station, same time. River Channel was going to copy it, and it was going to be a discussion on the city's 5-year park plan and our goals for parks, and see where we have shared goals or interests around the area, the Lake Malibu, St. Croix River area that we have shared ownership areas there. And that was all great, but unfortunately the city had to move their common council meeting, which is their village board equivalent, because of Martin Luther King. And then actually they found out that their park board reports to their finance committee, and they needed to go through their finance committee, and the finance committee needs to go to the board. So that means they've got at least 1 to 2 months delay before they're going to be able to get the approvals that they need to meet jointly. So until they get that, we'll just continue as is. Their feedback, okay. And then future agenda items. So we're sorry to say that this is Commissioner Mona Martinez' last meeting. Is there anything you'd like to say?
It's been an honor to serve for as long as I have. And it's just, I feel like my time is done and I need to allow another resident to serve the community.
So 18 years.
It's something like that.
Oh,
I can't even tell you
It might
anymore.
be 17, I'm
30.
not sure.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for being on the board and all the ideas and energy and I'd say kindness that you bring.
Thank you.
we'll
It's been
miss
an
you.
honor and it's been fun.
So we will be looking for another member, and the park board member, or the park board commissioners are appointed by President Wecken, the village board president. So if you have interest, you certainly can email me and I'll get it to President Wecken, or you can go directly to President Wecken if you know people that have an interest or love of the parks, have ideas, are a voice of the community, want to be a voice for the community in planning for parks. It would be great to
I know he
to have
does have
them.
one name,
Oh, wonderful.
but I don't know if that's panned out, so.
Okay, all right. Well, nothing wrong with choices, but if he's got someone, that's great too. So that is a primary thing that we want to think about before the next meeting. And then other agenda items for our next meeting, we would have an update from the St. Croix Bike and Pedestrian Trail Coalition, the status report on the parks, any feedback or status, the usual updates from our director, and then back to the park input, I guess I'd almost call it, community input or community support for the parks, how we want to forward with that, updates on the recreational plan. It sounds like we need to potentially review the proposed tree ordinances. Will that be next? Is that my
Oh,
understanding?
I think that'll be months.
Okay.
Until we get that done.
Okay.
And then we'll have a tree event
Okay,
for discussion and recommendation on there as well.
okay,
That tree planting event.
okay. So we don't need to do anything with that. It seems there was something else that you talked about coming back to the park board. Was there? Not the park bench, that's ready to roll. Oh.
Chief Jansen?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
the playground presenters. Or I guess we can just put Chief Jansen update.
Yeah. And
Park equipment update.
so they'll be coming with their visions, and then we'll figure out how we want to get those visions out to the community and get community input on them. Okay? Any other items for the next meeting?
Any updates on grants or support that we're needing with grants to be applying for future grants? I'm just thinking, we didn't get
so-
those.
A lot of we can't get some grants right now. Next year we'll be good to go because we took that grant for Browns Beach, so that eliminates us from all them state DNR grants for 3 years from project completion. So next year we'll be able to get some of them, I would say, more attainable, less competitive grants. So it shouldn't, not too much, and I guess we're kind of out of budget cycle now, so to receive a grant, unless it was for 27, or it would be a little tricky to try to move funds to appease any matching funds or whatever we may get. But definitely here coming up as we plan for whatever ends up on that outdoor rec plan, absolutely.
When we are doing however we plan to advertise for the memorial benches, would there be an opportunity to have some sort of advertisement or way of saying if you're wanting to make a larger gift?
I don't know if
To
we
put
can
toward-
solicit donations as a government entity.
Okay.
So
Well,
that,
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up. I think we ought to, and I guess this goes to the board for discussion, the creation of a foundation, which would allow that.
A foundation. So on the next agenda, are you discussing a foundation or some sort of thing for the parks where people can donate to the parks?
501c3.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Okay, so we can add that, and I can talk to Gina about that if you, or do you want to talk to Gina about getting that information for the next meeting?
Yeah, because I think that's gonna have to come from like a lawyer, because
Sure. Yep,
we don't really dabble in
yep. Okay,
the law or the legal aspects of things.
okay. All right. Did any, maybe, did any of your committees that you were talking about on item number, the update on the, there we go, 9, did any of them have a 501c3s associated?
No.
Okay. Okay, all
I mean,
right.
Friends of the Park is a 501c3, but like the people I talk to where I work, the Adopt the Park is just like they volunteer once. They do a big park cleanup, and then that's all it is. And then they just kind of watch over it for the summer, kind of thing, and like once a week go out and clean and all that. But it's not like it's just a volunteer to kind of help support the staff.
Okay,
That kind of thing.
got it. Okay. Well, that's an interesting idea. Okay. Sounds good. Let's add it to the agenda and for discussion only the next meeting. And if you have any information that you find, anyone has information about that, feel free to bring it to the next meeting. Okay. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn
Second?
and second.
Not needed, I keep telling you.
Not needed, but we got it and we're adjourned. It is 6:53 adjourned.